record on this computer.
Hey, yo,
Perfect.
how's it going?
Hi.
Yeah.
I'm well. Cool. So yeah, we've got a fair few people on this. This is the first webinar I've actually ever hosted. Been on a couple in this lockdown period. I think it's starting to take off more and more as you can't attend meetups or anything like that. So the virtual world's definitely kicking off. But yeah, I'm joined here by G, who's a principal engineer at CHIP. So yeah, basically in this we'll answer the questions that you guys have already asked about what it takes to go from starting as a good software developer and becoming a great software developer, talk through G's background, the challenges he's faced and what he's learned throughout his career, and also sort of my take on the technology recruitment market and how you guys can improve, how you guys can get noticed by organizations, and just things to do that sort of I look out for when screening individuals. So yeah, G, if you want to kick it off and just explain a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks. So yeah, my name is Guilherme Reis, but you can call me G. It's much easier. And I've started as a software developer like more than 10 years ago, to be honest. I never I always got like this feeling that I like technology. So for me, it was like an easy way to go. And I've started literally coding when I was like 15, and was like first passion, like coding something, see something building up. And then from there, I started like I graduated on my uni. I started my own agency. Then I went to other agencies as well. And then short story, long story short, I moved to UK 3 years ago. And when I joined here, like my first company in the UK was like a digital agency. They were focused in the financial sector, and was like for a team leader and people of six people over there. And basically the challenge was they were kind of the same thing. How you manage your expectations for the job that you're going to do, and how you can manage people as well. And as a software developer, you always got these questions around happening, like how can I improve myself? How can I move forward in the direction that I wanted? And for me, it was always this goal. So having like a major goal in top, like, all right, so what is the skills that I have to learn on my stack in order to progress? And it's not like only about the skills. So I was literally moving forward to learn more stuff and get the exposure that the market was requesting me to have, plus the soft skills as well. So I think that I think that the market is like huge because we have so many options right now. And there is so many roles opening again after this pandemic. We are still in the pandemic, but I think that the market is picking up again.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
There is like one thing that I can see that is like the market they're expecting not only have great engineering, like someone that already got the experience, but someone that has the soft skills as well. Someone that can communicate, can express themselves, or can go to a team and work together, right? So this level of skills, I think that the market, they are requesting more. So if you, and for me, it was always like that. So I always enjoy to talk with people, interact with people. And for me, it was like an easy way to start like being this leader. And I think that when you push yourself first as an example, so you start like thriving more. And I think that stakeholders, they can see when someone is trying to push stuff forward and literally is helping anyone. And eventually you're going to be like the point of contact in the company. So the guy that everybody goes to asks for some information. And then eventually you're gonna grow up. So for me, it was like this way as well. So I got to learn new skills and about like the architecture, or even for my own stack, in order to progress to a leading position. And today I am leading the technology sector alongside with another principal engineer at CHIP. And it's been great. It's been awesome. We have been doing like lots of different features. We have been deploying lots of big features for CHIP. And yeah, it's amazing. So I think that today we're going to be covering this kind of this relationship, this topic, like how can I progress as a software engineering, and and talking about like the market as the recruiters, how recruiters can see you, right?
Yeah,
Because
for
that
sure.
definitely will help you to achieve your goals. Like if you wanted to move to another company, if you wanted to jump career, you have to know how the recruitment market works, how they see you through the eyes of your LinkedIn or of your CV, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, yeah, great introduction. Thanks for that. I mean, obviously, you mentioned you came over from Brazil,
Yeah.
which is yeah, fantastic. How did you find sort of as a software developer coming over to a completely new country? Did you face sort of challenges or anything like that? Was it quite a straightforward process?
Yeah, no, yeah, nothing is straightforward, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
first of all, I think that the language is like a blocker, and I speak like I think that I've got lots of friends that they came from different countries as well, and
Mm,
they feel like the English sometimes is a blocker because like I don't know if I'm expressing the right way. I don't know like how I gonna get that position if my English is not like 100%.
mm,
So it's funny because I always loved talking English. So when I started, when I was like 15, I was literally learning English through this coding experience. So I was literally going to YouTube, watching videos in English, reading everything in English. And for me, it was like an easy way to learn.
yeah.
And before I came to UK, I was like trying to push up my English as well. But I can remember my first meeting here in London, 10 people doing like the stand up. And I couldn't understand like what they were talking about. I mean, that was crazy because yeah, the accent is different. As you can notice in Brazil, you learn more American accent and we have
Yeah.
British accent. So it's different.
Mm,
But I mean, it's fun at the same time. So for me, it was like, yeah, you got to be open. You got to be open for this type of experience, for learning more. And I think that I was open. I was open from the first day. And that was like one side. The other side, of course, was like the gap of the technology itself. I think that in Brazil we are kind of the same level if you go to São Paulo about like talking about technology, but
mm,
the experience that we have here and the deep of the stuff that we're doing, there is no comparison, right? So UK
mm.
is the leading for the financial sector, for example. I believe that we have so many more startups here than US, for example.
Yeah.
So there is no way for you to compare London, UK with any other country. I mean, that's my my feeling,
That's
right?
exactly.
So
Yeah, yeah.
which is amazing. So here you're gonna see so much more deep stuff like regarding machine learning, artificial intelligence for that specific topic. So which means like you have more opportunities to do cool stuff and deep stuff and stuff that will change how people interact with money, their like financial data or any
Mm,
other type of market, right? And that's for me was the gap that I got to fill in when I joined UK. So all right, so that there is this process, there is another standard that I have to learn. There is this technology that is coming up now as a full stack developer, and what the market is expecting me to know. And pretty
mm.
much it is everything, right? So the market they want a god, someone that knows like everything. Yeah, you should know React, Vue.js, Angular, plus PHP, Node.js, .NET, and all these technologies at the same. If you know all
Yeah.
this, yeah, you're the perfect candidate to join our company. Plus, you have to have soft skills to be capable to lead a team, understand people's behaviors and people's frustrations, have to
Mm,
manage those frustrations to keep them engaged with what you're doing. So
of
I mean,
course.
it's so much more stuff around the technology itself and the software development role that you have to understand. And to do that, I've got to start doing my own psychologist sessions weekly because it was like so much stuff going on, mate. And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I need some more resource outside of this human side of the role. I mean, how can I go to my job and not fight every time that I gonna disagree with some approach? And how
Yeah.
can I approach different opinions? And how can I thrive or literally move forward the company when you have so many different backgrounds, people coming with different ideas to have to one single solution?
Mm,
So people, they wanted to be heard, right? And that's the issue. So a great leader, he will be capable to understand, to hear your thoughts, and at the same time point you to the good direction, and not
mm.
just like shut you off and say, that's bullshit, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
these type
yeah.
of behaviors change, and I think that the companies, they are trying to understand, they're getting that, right? So they are trying to understand that, hey, cost me so much more money to hire a great developer and lose him after 6 months. So maybe I should change how my relationship will be with that guy. Because if I lose that person, I'm gonna have to go not only through the hiring process, but the learning curve as well. So a new person means like it will take me 2 months or for that person to start doing something good. If that person is great, right? If they literally get the experience to hit the ground running and understand my whole stack. So companies are understanding this this as a cost, and that's good because the cost is what drives company forward, right?
Of course.
So it's costing me the double to not care about people's behavior and not care how my relationship with my employees works. Maybe I should change my relationship, because if I can retain these great candidates, then my cost will drop, because I don't have to pay recruiters. I don't have to go back to the market to hire more developers, right? So
you don't have to train people either.
Yeah. So we have so many issues happening right now, but I think that's a huge opportunity for those that truly understand what the market is expecting, which is which are you guys, right? So we are here, can understand this, and we can improve our career, and we can move to think like about our progression in that direction. So if you can be that guy that will provide that solution, you're literally so much like ahead of everybody else. So if you can understand this principle, so I'm pretty sure that if you go to the market and start talking about that, companies will literally see you in a different way. That's how I think.
For sure. That's a great take on the market at the moment as well. But let's sort of go back, because there's quite a few individuals here on this webinar who are just starting out their career, or have got sort of 1 to 2 years experience, or sort of 5 years experience as well. And some of the questions we've had is like, James Kavanagh, for example, completed a boot camp in C# development after graduating, currently working in a .NET house, but the software is not .NET. He's saying, is there any advice we could give him to give him sort of the best chance of getting into a .NET role in the future? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that, James, you should be looking forward of your own progression for sure. So if you really wish to working with .NET and if you're not doing this right now, so the first thing that you should do is like looking after for yourself in order to jump to that market. If you think that you don't have the current skills to be capable to go to an interview, one advice I would say would be like join a few freelance projects, right? Because the market, and again, I have been talking this in my previous conversation as well, the market doesn't care too much about like so long past experience. And when I say the market, I'm not saying like for a principal role. Of course, if you are going to apply to a senior position or a principal position, you have to have like a proven track record that proves that you got the knowledge. But let's say you're a junior, you just wanted to start working with .NET. As soon as you can prove that you know how to code in .NET, that's fine. So I mean, like, of course, that for recruiters' side, they will ask you, what's the commercial experience, right? And that's that's the first. I would say that's the first wall that you have to break, that you have to pass. That's the first thing, which is like the recruiter phase. Because recruiters, they're going to be looking, and again, you can correct myself if I'm wrong, but I think that you're going to be looking for the buzzwords, the keywords on that specific candidate experience. So if you cannot see any commercial experience working with .NET, how are you going to push that person? But if you're a junior, I think that companies could be much more open for side projects. So which means like if you got any freelance projects, which is commercial, you can prove that you got the experience. And if you go to interview and you can literally talk with me how you would implement that specific feature in .NET, if you can prove to me, probably there is a high chance that you know how to code in .NET, which means like you will have the job. So create a plan how you're going to move on, and don't be afraid to jump to another company. That's how it works, right? That's how the software engineering market works. It has been proved. It's not myself, it's not my one opinion, but if you really wish to jump to a higher level or a higher position, or even have like a higher income, likely you're going to have to do this in another company, right? Because the current company, unfortunately, that's again the lack of progression that we were discussing previously. Companies, they still didn't understand how to achieve that progression, keep the good candidates.
Yeah.
So the only way, unfortunately, is moving to swapping to another company, right? And that's nothing wrong about it, right? So if the company, if you are undervalued, so let's say you started as a junior, after 7 months, you learn so well that your work is quite close to what the senior are doing. There is no way why you're making 50% less.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I think with getting into software development, I mean, I place individuals from junior levels, so graduates or people
Nice.
like Zaf, who's came from makers, for example, all the way through to C-level individuals. And what I've noticed, especially at the junior level, how to get noticed is be active on LinkedIn, ensure your profile's up to date, ensure you're constantly commenting on things that are relevant, post about technical news. Like I trawl through hashtags off .NET every day to see like who are the active people, and I add them to my network. But it's a developer I placed last month, even in this current pandemic. He was a junior individual, had couple of years industry experience, as you said, didn't have wasn't getting the career progression that he wanted. And for him to get noticed, I was like, right, cool, improve your projects on GitHub, create a portfolio as well, and just be active. If you guys are showing that you are active in the community, you're going to be standing out ahead of the crowd. Like, I find the CVs all well and good, and like as you say, yeah, we look through buzzwords and see how many times, like for example, .NET will come up, or C# or ASP.NET. But what I'm really looking forward to, how I find a great developer as opposed to a good developer, is looking through their GitHub and seeing how active they are and seeing what type of personal projects they're putting up as well. I mean, do you guys at Chip, do you look through people's GitHub? Do you look through the Stack Overflow logins and profiles and everything like that?
Yeah, so we do have like a few phases for recruitment at Chip. So the first one would be with our one recruiters. They do these type of checks for us, so we don't have to go through the entire checks when a guy comes to us. So we have this filter that happens on the recruitment phase, which is exactly what you're describing now. So they're gonna literally try to see how active that person is in the community, or all the projects that they're working on. But when the person reach our stage, which means like they already got like a phone call and all this kind of stuff, we're gonna try to understand how deep knowledge they got for that topic. So, and again, for me, it's not a matter to go and see your CV. So yeah, I will take a look on your CV. But I mean, if you told me that you got DDD experience, for example, so domain-driven design, I would like to test this out and make sure that you know what you're talking about. So probably going to be talking about like CQRS. I'm going to be talking about like stuff like that to order to common bus and this kind of stuff to order to understand how you did that specific implementation. So that's why I'm saying, for me, it doesn't matter if you got like, I don't know, X years for that specific company, that, you know what I mean? But if you can prove me, even though that you might not have a good history of experience, of commercial experience, but if you can prove that you know that path and that you worked before in a side project, that's amazing. And we can do even this in a single phone call, which is amazing. We even don't have to send a coding test. We do use coding tests, but in the phone call, we know exactly how good that developer is or not, because we can understand if they know about these principles or solid principles, anything that we are using now. And that's why I keep saying, make sure that you're having exposure for those principles, right? So make sure that you're going into side projects, make sure that you're gonna literally get your hands dirty in these principles that you worked with. Then you're gonna have the understanding on your head. And once you got in this interview, you're gonna be capable to explain how you would do this using that principle or that implementation that way. Yeah. And then you definitely will be like completely in a different level. So I would say that, yeah, your chance to get the job that you want would be much higher.
Yeah. I agree with that as well. And I think you could use technical tests as sort of proof of your work on your GitHub or on your Stack Overflow page as well. And that's another way of getting you noticed, because like all these things, I'm sure the company that you guys are all working for don't want their code put on GitHub for obvious reasons. But if you're doing personal projects and or technical tests, I'd definitely advise putting that on as well. I mean, another individual, Nikita, said sort of how do you get better? How do you get noticed? I mean, again, putting yourself out there and contributing and finding a good recruiter as well. I mean, there's so many recruitment companies in the UK. There's so many technical recruiters as well. But find one that you feel confident with, you feel comfortable with, and get their take on the market. If they put you forward for positions, use your initiative as well. Like if you're getting put forward and you've got an interview with X company, really do your research, map out that company, and connect to the individuals that you are going to be interviewing with you on LinkedIn, and say, like, just drop them a little message saying, oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to the interview, can't wait to discuss like X, Y, and Z. Like, you'll set yourself out and apart from the other candidates who just show up to the interview, do the interview, and then finish it. And that's the same thing with after the interview. Email the people and thank them for their time. Give them the feedback. Obviously, go through the recruiter as well, because he or she will be wanting to big you up in the best possible way. But yeah, those are just little things on how to continue getting noticed. But so many people have asked, like, how do you go from being a good engineer to a great engineer? How do you improve your skills? I mean, what did you do to progress in your career? How did you sort of learn new things?
To be honest, I think that for me was pretty much like to not be comfortable, to not be in a comfortable zone. And that's like very tricky one, because sometimes you're going to see yourself doing the same stuff every day. So I'm going to point out, when I was working at a digital agency, we were working with WordPress. So that's PHP stuff. And every day was the same thing. So we wasn't like doing so much deep stuff. And that was like one issue. And then when I saw myself comfortable with this, that was like the issue, because it was like, hey, I'm not learning anything new. The company perspective of their stack, it is literally stuck on that specific technology. So clearly they're not going to move forward. Clearly there's nothing new coming up that will change their perspective, to change their whole stack. So what the hell I'm doing here? So I've got to move on. Otherwise, if I'm not learning something new, means that I'm literally only trading my time for that specific amount. And my time, it is much greater than what I'm making now. So when you value yourself, when you know exactly that you have the potential to grow and to learn more, you have to understand at some point you have to leave where you are now in order to jump to another stack, or you're going to have to do online courses, or again freelance projects, or a few contracts in order to achieve this. I truly believe that the best way to learn more, it is working with this. So sometimes I apply for roles that I wasn't 100% sure about the technology. So let's say a new framework just launched, or React Native, or this kind of stuff. I'm not 100%. I do know the basics, but I will apply the same way. And just like I'm going to jump in that role, I'm going to start learning as quick as possible. And then you make sure that you're going to learn everything that you need to do to deliver your work. But that is like one of the best ways. So being in a company that you can work with new technologies that will literally leverage your whole experience, because you're doing something every day consistently, and you're going to be in a real world scenario, which you're going to be literally testing that new technology and how that works, right? But let's say that you don't have this option, right? You're not going to leave the company. So I would engage in a freelance project, or even a personal one. So I was willing to learn React Native. So I just launched my one app. So I start building my one app. So if you go to my LinkedIn, you're going to see like a few designs. So I've done all the designs. Then I started all the React Native implementation of it. And literally I learned a lot. So that's how I do it. When I see how new stuff are happening in the market. If on my current company they cannot offer that flexibility for me to work in that specific technology, I'm gonna start something by myself, and then I can literally having the real experience. Just is not only the how can I say, only this course that you do, because the course they're great, they're amazing, but when you go outside of this online course that you've done, you're still like following step by step what the guy did, right? And sometimes the whole concept of that specific technology didn't go to your head. So at least for me, it works very good in that way. So yeah, I think that one of the tips would be like for you to move on, or you start literally doing something by yourself in a new technology. That's like for the technology perspective, right? So I think that one of the key points that the market, they think that, all right, that guy, he's great. It's like, how fast can you understand my stack? How fast can you deploy this new feature? So I've worked with companies that when I joined, I've deployed like 1,000 of lines of code in one day. And the other developers, they were doing like hundreds per week. So when you go to GitHub, you can see the most contributors for that specific project. And that was huge gap. I mean, the difference was huge. And that literally shows how quickly can you learn, can you deploy. Of course, I'm not saying like more lines of code means like a better quality. I'm not saying this, but I'm just saying like the market, if you can easily pick up that specific stack that you're going to be working with, means that you're a great developer, means that you got the experience, you worked previously, you know what that design is about. So that's why I'm saying like we have to study about these design principles and how a good architecture software works, right? So it's not like, although we do have solution architect roles in the market, I think that every single developer, they should know how to solutionize a new architecture. Because if you're a developer, you don't know this, probably there's a high chance that you're going to implement something in an anti-pathing design, and eventually that will break up in the future.
Yeah, I agree. And I think quite a few people have said, like, how do I get noticed with my current company? How do I progress? And I think it is all about utilizing new technology. Like, there's a few organizations that I work with who allow their developers like 10% of their working week to focus on either personal projects or learning new languages and things like that, which is really cool. And they'll give them like sort of money each year towards different qualifications or different training courses. But I think in order for you to get noticed and progress your career, if you're staying with a company and you want to learn technologies, is talk to the people who control the budgets for new tech and say, look, like for example, React, obviously everyone knows that's a new hot topic and everyone wants to get into React. I'm not saying people should change their tech stack to it, but you should be saying to your tech lead or to the CTO, look, I really want to learn React. Can you put me on a course to do it, or is there anything you can do to help me? Is there anyone that you could recommend who's very good at React that you could put me in contact with, and just utilizing other people in a network?
Another thing that I've noticed was like being proactive literally upskills you and literally push you forward inside of the company as well. So rather than you start a discussion, I've seen this, some people that I work with, they did it and literally worked. So for example, they were trying to push or tech stack in some direction, in a good direction. And because we were not sure about it, we were like, yeah, let's think about it. And after a weekend, that same person came with the whole implementation, that new stack, and say, hey, just in case, I've done that way, take a look. I didn't use my time at work. I did this on a weekend, but let me know your thoughts. And that was like amazing, because the guy literally showcased the entire implementation, how you would do it in that new technology. The tech was so good that we decided to use it. And it was like, you know what, that's amazing, let's use it. We start using that approach. So and then you can see how it is the difference, right? When you're proactive, you don't wait your line manager to agree with something. You just do it out of your hours from your work, and you showcase yourself again. You push yourself forward. You say, hey, I've done this. Let me know your thoughts. I use this technology because I think that's like what the market is using for this and that approach for that reason, security, and you can point out all different approaches. And I've got even people going to their one AWS account and showcase how they would do the DevOps side of the thing.
Wow. Yeah,
so when you are proactive, when you show that you're willing to do the extra step, the company, they will notice this. They will understand that you're not only here for the 9 to 5 hours. You're not only here to check that you came to the company, you wrote some lines of codes and you just left. You're literally willing to do the extra bit. And that's what that's the type of engagement that they're looking for. And to be honest, that's how should be anyway, because you should be proud of what you're doing, and you should take ownership as well. So when you push yourself in that direction, you're literally saying, hey, I do understand this technology. I do take an ownership. Like you can see here, I just proved that we can do stuff in a better way. So basically, there's a lot of good accomplishment when you do this, right? So yeah, that's another idea that can literally be a different person in the company.
Yeah, exactly that. And Ali, that was one of Ali's questions as well. It was like, if you had to narrow down a single trait in how to go from a good developer to a great developer, what would it be? And I completely agree. Proactiveness is that.
I think that this one is pretty much like a combination of like knowledge and soft skills as well. Again, I think that the ability for you to know, because I saw the other way. I saw a person that he's amazing developer. He knows everything, but his soft skills is very low. So, I mean, he got some, how can I say, challenging to express himself when he wanted to push forward in some directions. So that didn't work as well. So I think that a great developer probably will be a person that has the knowledge, so has the technical side of knowledge, knows exactly how things works, how a good design, a good architecture should look like, but at the same time has the soft skills to express himself, and in a way that he will bind everybody together and will literally bring everybody in on his side. And to do this, it's politics. It's not it's not just like how to talk in English. It's just like literally politics. How do you engage with your teammates, and how do you engage with your colleagues makes the whole difference. How hard you're gonna reach someone on his pull request, for example, when you're doing a code review, and how soft you're gonna come when you have to bring some, I don't know, hard feedback, right? So knowing how to express, knowing how to engage with people will literally make you have this soft skills that I think the companies they're looking for. And to do this, you should literally have a genuine, that has to come from you, from your inside out, I would say. Like,
of course,
you should be that person. So it's not just like you should not fake, because that will not work. So you should be looking to yourself and say, hey, why am I angry with this situation? Why am I literally, I don't know, disturbing someone else about his code? Or can I change myself? Can I change the way that I give my feedback? Can I change the way that I interact with my colleagues? Because if I can change this, if I can be like a easy person to talk with, likely I'm gonna be in a leading position in the future. Because leaders, they are not that type of person that enforce this stuff. They literally act as an example, and people, they just join them because they love to interact with them, this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a difference between sort of that of a leader and a manager. Like, managers would be like, do this, do that. Leaders sort of drive the business forward and drive the team forward. And I completely agree with you on sort of the soft skills as well. Like, I'm not technical in any way, shape or form. I mean, I studied computer science for a year when I was at university, and it wasn't for me. So moved into a completely different topic. But when I talk to developers or development managers or tech leads or anyone technical related, like, I notice that the individuals who are more likely to get the position are the ones who are able to break the technical jargon down into easier ways for people who are non-technical to understand. So if you're talking to, I don't know, like a finance director, and you're like, right, we've got this new project, but we need an extra £10,000 to do it. And the finance director is obviously going to say, well, okay, why is it going to cost this much? And if you guys are sort of just saying, well, this, and this, and it's all technical, and it just goes straight over the
Yeah.
finance director's head. He's obviously going to say no. So for you guys to get noticed, and for you guys to progress your careers and go from a senior engineer to a principal engineer to a tech lead and then CTO, these soft skills are definitely going to be very useful for you as well. So yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Cool.
So yeah, we've got a couple of others as well. Aaron, for example, said, how do you get commercial experience with new technologies whilst working on a specific stack as well? So again, it's learning outside of it and asking your team. But I mean, have you got any other tips that you'd be suggesting for that?
Yeah, I think that, again, I think that that's the point, isn't it? Because when you try to reach that commercial experience that you're looking for, so yeah, I mean, I've got a friend that he was working on another market and just decided to be like a front-end developer. So he studied about like CSS, HTML, this kind of stuff. And in order for him to progress, he got to showcase he's willing to learn more and what he'd done. So basically, he did exactly what I'm saying. Like he literally started doing some freelance project, and he got the commercial experience. He put on his CV. So basically, I personally, let's say that I don't have any commercial experience, I would change my entire LinkedIn to put all the freelance project that I've done. Say, hey, I worked for company X like 3 months as a contract, building that technology. So I've used like SCSS, HTML5, and ES or TypeScript or something like this. And for every single freelance project, I would put over there at the time as well, only to showcase that I do have commercial experience, right? So I think that that's the first stuff. If you're literally going out of the uni now, of course that you can try. Yeah, you're going to be able to try. Like we got like a few comments here, you can work on your GitHub, you can update your GitHub and literally showcase your portfolio. But an easy way for you to stand out would be literally have a few freelance project experience and start being active on LinkedIn as well. So I think that LinkedIn is amazing, right? So because it's so easy to connect with recruiters, and all these tips that we just gave to you, I'm pretty sure that will literally skyrocket your LinkedIn if you're starting now.
Yeah, I agree. And going through that and going from a recruiter's perspective, like I've got a LinkedIn recruiter license, so I can view people on normal LinkedIn and that. So if you guys are looking for a new opportunity, there is a function where you can say, I'm open to new opportunities, and then you'll have more recruiters contacting you. But it would be really beneficial for you guys to optimize your LinkedIn profile. So what I mean by that is there's so many developers that have joined LinkedIn and their job title is just software engineer. But they don't say what their tech stack is, for example, or they've just put, I work at company X, and there's literally nothing in there about me part of their LinkedIn profile. There's nothing in sort of what their role and responsibility is. Now, I'm not saying that it has to be like a CV where you list literally everything for it, but it would be good if you list your tech stack, list what projects you've worked on, but not just, oh, I did a .NET developer project, sort of list what the challenges were and the successes were of the project, because then it will give recruiters and sort of agency recruiters or internal recruiters, talent acquisition individuals, or even senior people within a business, because I know a couple of companies, their tech managers will look through people's profiles themselves and invite them in for an interview. So stay up to date with your LinkedIn. Ask for recommendations from your team, ask for recommendations from your stakeholders as well, and from previous employers, even recruiters. Some of the individuals I've placed, I ask every individual that I've placed to write me a recommendation on LinkedIn, because it makes my profile look all nice and fancy and everything. But ask recruiters who you've worked with to recommend you, because it's a two-way street and it goes both ways. And things like standing out from the crowd, even your headline on LinkedIn. So a lot of them will just have software engineer, and that's what their job title is. But if I'm looking through say I run a search for .NET developers within, I don't know, 5 miles of a company, and I'm looking through software engineer, software engineer, software engineer, software engineer who has helped save a company £10,000 and launched a new product. Wow, which one of those am I more likely going to look at? So you can, the really clever thing about LinkedIn is, especially on the headline function, you can add more things into it, and you can use, if you all go onto my LinkedIn after it, mine is sort of obviously my stuff at Understanding is my job title, but my headline is I help tech companies grow by placing highly talented software professionals. And then I've got a slash down it, and then I've got permanent, then I've got a slash contract slash recruitment slash software developers. And the reason for that is LinkedIn actually picks that stuff up. So if someone was to type permanent recruitment into LinkedIn, into the search bar, my profile should come up. So if you guys have software engineer slash, I don't know, React or Angular or whatever your tech stack is, that will then program the algorithm into pushing your profile up higher than other individuals who have just got software engineer or software developer. So yeah, if you guys aren't utilizing that function of LinkedIn, I'd definitely recommend it.
Cool. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, for sure. I think that, again, LinkedIn always helped me. So I pay LinkedIn for professional as well, which means like
so you've got premium license,
helping me to see who is going to my LinkedIn, and I can connect with people. So everybody that goes to my LinkedIn, I ask to connection, and helping me to see like a few stats of companies and jobs, and literally push my profile up as well on those searches as well. Which is amazing. So yeah, I think that this little thing is just like something that will help you. And of course, again, like we just said, if you be active, would be much better, because then you're gonna have traction of deals on your LinkedIn, right? So every time that you post something, your connections likely they're gonna be able to see on their feed. And if you start getting a few likes or even shares on that specific content, you're gonna literally leverage the whole audience from your LinkedIn. So I started to do this. So if you take a look at my LinkedIn, you're going to see that I started to do a few videos for recruiters and about technology as well. And one of the most successful posts that I've done was like literally about how easy you can do one open banking app in a couple of minutes, to be honest. And I recorded a video myself showing case the step-by-step that I did, like open banking app using a provider called TrueLayer, which you could literally connect your bank account, fetch people's accounts and transactions. And the video literally blew up. It was amazing because the CEO of TrueLayer, he loved the video that he shared my video. And I got so much more views, and it was amazing. Like lots of different people, they came to me, they loved the video because I've done on TikTok as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
new thing.
Yeah, exactly. And people was like, oh yeah, that's the TikTok business, right? Because he's on LinkedIn. So it was so nice to see the engagement that I've gone with just like a simple video, right? Then I started recording more videos about like technology and this kind of stuff. So yeah, that's the type of thing that you could do as well, right? So if you learn something new about your tech stack, you can record a quick video. Hey guys, I'm gonna share something that I've done here. And that again will literally put yourself outside of a completely box, because we're gonna be able to see you and how can you communicate and what's the energy, the passion that you have. And people came to me and say, hey G, can you help me with my startup? Because I was searching for freelance and I just saw your videos, and I see that you have the passion about technology. And it was so funny to see this, because passion is something that you cannot sell and put on your CV. And that's an issue for me, at least, because that's one of my strongest capabilities in any company, because I come with this passion. I help everybody in the company. I'm very open-minded person, easy to talk with. And but unfortunately, how are we going to sell these attributes about myself to a company? There is no way. The only way that I have it is showing case myself on LinkedIn or any other platform. And that's like a good practice, right? So I think that once you started doing this content, you're going to see your career progression move very quickly as well.
Yeah, I agree. And as you said, you tagged True Layer in it, so they noticed it. So yeah, if you guys aren't doing that, all you have to do is just and then tag the developer or tag who you want in it, and you can tag the companies in it as well. And yeah, as you've seen, G got them. They noticed him and liked it, and it just sort of spirals as well. And if you aren't that active on LinkedIn, you won't get as many likes, you won't get as many shares. It's a two-way street with LinkedIn. You've got to be the one posting and interacting with individuals, because that's then how they will start to see your content as well. So yeah, I definitely recommend that. We just had Dharmic just dropped me a message. He said he came to the UK this March when lockdown was declared. Obviously, yeah, that's a difficult time for everyone, and the last few months definitely have been difficult. I mean, he said some of the interaction he's had with recruiters have told him that he should search for a smaller company instead of a bigger one, which will give him a quick break and also put a lower expected salary scale. And then once you have experience in the UK, you might get the expected salary in the next job. Yeah, I mean, so many different recruiters have different viewpoints on this. I mean, there's been a lot of talk I've had some feedback from some clients where they're saying, oh yeah, if they haven't had UK experience, we would offer less of a salary. But I think it depends on the organization, because there's some organizations that we work with that love individuals from Eastern Europe, because obviously they've got a very good universities out there for computer science, and they will pay literally above market rate for them. So I would take that very much with a pinch of salt. I think you'd need to get yourself out there to as many companies as possible. But if you are struggling to find a position, then yeah, it might be worth sort of being a little bit more flexible with your salary expectations, at least for the interim, because you can go in, prove yourself, and then sort of after your probation period, which would probably be 3 or 6 months, say, okay, cool, look, I've proved myself, I've done this, I've done that. Can we improve my remuneration? I mean, you came from Brazil. How did you find it? Did you have to take less of a salary? Or
no, that happened exactly like that. So yeah, I wasn't looking for a salary, to be honest. I was just looking to have a job in the first place. Because yeah, everybody will have like a different opinion about this, but usually from where I came, like people, they don't have like technical experience to when they land in this country. So for me, I was literally accepting any offer for any job, for anything. But I was very surprised when I switched my LinkedIn to England and I put everything in English, and I literally I changed the entire format on my LinkedIn to make sense. And then I started getting lots of different calls every day for recruiters, which was awesome. And then this company, they gave me like a task for 3 days. So they were like, all right, G, we're going to take you for 3 days if you're up to. Let's see how you work, and we can see after that. And I've done the 3 days, was great. They liked the job, and they gave me the offer. So of course, I accept the offer. I came to this country, I started working with them, and after the probation period, I saw, the rate is low. It's not. I mean, I got no idea how much was the cost of a rent here, for example. And I have like a family, right? I have a wife, a kid. And I came back to them and say, hey guys, come on, you see my capabilities now. This salary is not working with me. And they just raised the salary for me.
Wow.
So they rose the salary, and for me it was cool. And then I stayed for a few months over there. And it's exactly what you just said. Yeah, sometimes you have to be flexible in order to showcase your true value. And I've done this multiple times, like talks with recruiters or the companies itself. I was literally saying, all right, fair enough, I'm going to join with this day rate, but I just would like to have the chance to showcase myself. And after probation period, can we discuss the salary after? Because I know that you guys will have like a better picture of how I work and what's the true value that I'm going to be delivering for the company.
Sure.
And it works pretty well.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I mean, I've tried not to talk about sort of COVID as much as possible throughout this webinar, because so many individuals are talking about it, obviously, because it is at the forefront of the globe, because it is a global pandemic. But
Yeah.
I know some individuals who are on this webinar who have messaged me directly have been saying, look, I'm really struggling to find a position, and like companies are not coming back to me and everything like that. I mean, from a recruiter perspective, do keep going, and like I try and give feedback as quickly as possible when I'm working with candidates. But it does seem that the market is starting to pick up, especially over the last couple of weeks. I've definitely noticed that there are more jobs out there. I'm having more positive conversations with clients as well, who are saying, yeah, we are going to be looking now, or we're not just yet, but it's on our roadmap as well. And I think to get a position during this current climate, you definitely have to set yourself out and apart from the other individuals, because there's going to be people who have been made redundant. There are going to be people who are on furlough, who have had to take sort of salary cuts as well to ensure that their business keeps going. So yeah, I'd definitely make sure you're standing yourself out from the crowd. So utilize the tips we've given in this, like improve your LinkedIn, reach out to people, constantly be asking for feedback. And if you are interviewing and you're not getting positions, ask people why. Ask why are you not, what did you actually fall short on, and ask for proper feedback, not just another candidate was stronger or anything like that as well. We've had another message. Jake said, apart from the limited exposure to different tech stacks in a commercial setting, do companies look unfavorably on candidates who have worked at one tech company for a long time in comparison to candidates who have worked at a few? I mean, G, what are your thoughts on
No,
on
I don't
that?
think so. I don't think so. Just like I said, we don't tend to be looking for the time or the length of the period that we stay for a single company. Yeah, of course, that a few companies, they do look this. So I know personally a few tech companies that they, like previously Chip, when I was in this hiring process that I was searching for to jump to another company, they came to me and say, oh, gee, you're great, you're amazing, but you're just like 11 months in this company, you're looking to jump to another company. We are looking for someone that could at least stay for more than 1 year here with us.
Yeah.
And fair enough. I mean, yeah, I think that's fine if they think that way. But that's not, I mean, at least for me, that was like a single company among of dozens of different companies that I applied at that time. So at Chip, at least, I don't look on the length, because I think that you as individual, you have like your one decision when you wanted to stick or not, and you have your one reasons why you left that specific place. And I think that if you're not capable to hold you because you're good and you're gonna leave, that's not your fault, that's our fault. That's how I think. That's the company's fault, because if we are leaving, we are failing to literally give you the progression or any other perspective. You left the company for some reason. That's how I think. So I would never be afraid to do this jump as well, right? So yeah, do not be afraid to apply only because you're 6 months in a specific company or not. Of course, that you just joined 1 month or 2 months a single company and you're moving, maybe recruiters, they will ask you why you're doing this, because then it's not usual. Stay two months. And then you're going to have to explain what happened. Yeah, I thought the company was X, but it didn't work, or was the stack was so difficult. And it happened with me, to be honest. I jumped to a company, I stayed for 2 months. And the first month I was like, yeah, no way. I gotta go. Because it's completely different from what I have been told. There is no way for me. I'm gonna be stuck here. Nah, I gotta leave for sure. And the reason why I told her was, no, that was a contracting. So I just told them, no, that was like 1 month contracting, 2 months contracting. And the recruiters are like, contract, all right, that's fine. Yeah, because contracting, sometimes you're going to have 1-2 months length of contract, and that's fine. So yeah, you just have to know how to play the game, right?
Yeah, I agree. And like some organizations we work with, they look for longevity. They're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, we won't look at someone who hasn't stayed with the company for 2 years plus or 3 years plus or 5 years plus. But a lot of companies, especially the more newer companies and the startups, they don't care as much.
Yeah.
Like you say, like if you've done 6 months or a year, yeah, as long as you've got a legitimate reason for why you want to leave, and you can justify it, then it should be fine. I mean, the average tenure within .NET is 1.3 years. So every candidate on average moves every 1.3 years. And for me, looking at that, I mean, obviously it's great for me because it keeps me in a position and it keeps me working with individuals. But a lot of the
Yeah.
work I do now is not just placing people in a transactional sense. So I don't just sort of send CVs and
Yeah.
the company hires it. I actually embed in with organizations and like looked how they can improve their retention. Because I mean,
Yeah.
1.3 years, if they're paying a recruiter a fee and they have to pay an increase in salary for the new individual who's joining, there's time it takes to hire, which will be a cost. There's time it takes for them to get up to speed, which obviously is a cost because they're not going to be as productive. It's all a cost factor. So if I can save our clients money by keeping individuals in it and advising them, look, this is what these guys are doing, this is what these guys are doing, why don't you do that? Then you shouldn't have a reason to leave as well. So yeah, definitely don't be worried about sort of moving on or anything like that. Another individual said, Carlos said, what do you think about meetings? Is it a waste of time for developers? I mean, yeah, for me personally, with the current pandemic and Zoom meetings and everything like that, I've tried to keep the meetings short and concise, and only if they're absolutely essential as well, because I don't want to waste people's time with it. I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you think they're worth it or not so
Yeah.
much?
Good one. Yeah, sometimes I get a little bit overwhelmed of the amount of meetings that I have.
Mm,
But at the same time, I understand that I'm in a position that I have to be in those meetings to guide for some technical discussion, or I don't know, provide some technical answer for that specific feature.
mm,
But yeah, I truly believe that too much meetings is not helpful for developers, because
yeah.
for me at least breaks my concentration. And because sometimes I'm working on huge complex feature and
Mm,
I have to stack a few thoughts on my head, right? So
yeah.
I'm literally coding and I start, all right, let me stack this thought, stay there, okay? I will go back to you in 20 minutes. And then, share meeting. What happened with that thought? I lost. I'm gonna have to build up that thought again in order to
Mm,
continue my development.
yeah.
And yeah, I think that it's like, yeah, you break productivity sometimes
Yeah.
because you're literally like doing like this multitasking. So yeah,
Mm,
I think that at Chip we came in agreement that we would only have meetings for the first few hours in the day, and then
mm.
after that we were literally block people to create new meetings, because it's for you to understand the situation that we end up.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
worked. Yeah, a few months worked, then everybody started doing meetings again. Anyway,
Yeah, I guess you've got to stick to it and keep it
yeah,
in, because
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think meetings are important. And some of the feedback I've had from our clients is that they obviously run sprint meetings and
yeah,
everything like that. It's good to get an update on the project, but you don't need to have a meeting every day.
yeah,
Like obviously in this current climate, you're not in an office, you're not seeing people face to face or anything like that, so it would be good to keep in contact with them. But I know a lot of developers who want to work fully remote, who want to be at home and just, or in their garden or what have you, and just sit and type and code
yeah,
and that. But yeah, I think it shouldn't be meetings for meetings' sake. But yeah, hopefully I think we've answered all the questions
yeah.
that were emailed through to us. If you guys have got any other questions, feel free to pop them in the chat function quickly. We'll try and do sort of 5 minutes more of of answering questions. But yeah, I hope you guys have found it helpful. If you want any advice on how to further get noticed by recruiters, obviously feel free to reach out to GOI directly. Our LinkedIn's were on the Eventbrite meeting. Yeah, reach out to us. But it would be great if you could all put a post on LinkedIn about sort of this webinar, what you thought about it. Your feedback's more than welcome. Like I said, it's my first webinar, so I'm completely new to this. I'm always looking to improve. That's one of my personal traits is pushing myself forward and get noticed. So yeah, so that would be great if you guys could post and comment on our posts and everything like that. Got a couple of more questions. AJ, struggling to get interviews which offer visa sponsorship. Yeah, appreciate that. That is obviously, it is difficult to get a job in the UK if you do require a visa. You can Google. I'm not sure if you need a tier 2 visa or something like that, but you can Google tier 2 UK based companies who offer sponsorship, and there is a PDF of every company in the UK who can offer tier 2 sponsorship as well. So that would obviously be a good place for you to start. There's quite a few extensive companies on there. They're not all going to be tech related, obviously, but it will give you some scope. But
can I give you some ideas as well about this?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I think that I agree with you, but throughout my career, I saw like a few people coming in the UK and literally getting the sponsorship as well, because they prove that they are very good. Yeah. So, I mean, if you have the dream, if you have the passion to come to UK, you should be following those as well. So one of the tips I would give you would say, like, just approach the companies, showcase that you're a strong candidate, and offer them to hire you using an offshore company, right? So you can open a company on your country and you can invoice them, and that company can literally send the money for you. So before I came to UK, I was dealing with different companies on US, on Europe as well, doing exactly like that. And as long as you're working for a company remotely and you can prove that you're strong, then you're gonna literally go like another step forward and very close to get your sponsorship. So only because you didn't get the sponsorship roles, that didn't mean that you're not like capable to offer a contracting work, right? So just think about it. Google, how can you offer contract service on your home country to UK? That's not like it's not that difficult, and you can apply for any contracting role, and you can start working for a company in UK. And eventually after you start working, you're gonna showcase yourself, and they're gonna start making the conversation. Hey, now I would like to move to UK. Can you sponsorship my move and my hiring? And then done. It's much easier for you to bridge that gap when you're already working for a company in the UK.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. It's really good tip. Aaron said devs should also leverage the use of LinkedIn groups for support and or tips to learn and grow from people with similar backgrounds to them. Yeah, 100%. LinkedIn groups is definitely something to join. I'm part of a couple of .NET developer groups, and when there's things on job specs that I don't understand, I reach out to developers on groups or people within my network, and I say, look, I don't have a clue what this is. Can you explain it to me as well? And I use Discord servers, I use Slack as well. So find the communities out there and leverage it. And you'll also grow a network that way. If I have any conversations on Discord or on Slack, I will straight away look that person up on LinkedIn and find them and connect to them as well, because then they'll start to see the content that I post. They'll start to see sort of the jobs that I'm posting and everything like that. You shouldn't be, I know it's obviously very time consuming, but you shouldn't just be on one platform. You should be on as many different platforms as possible. And utilize everything. Joseph said, how can we learn if the market is back as the good old days? Yeah, difficult to say. I think with it, if you're looking for jobs on LinkedIn, or if you're looking for jobs on Stack, or on like Reed or Total or everything, look at how many jobs are being posted every day and every week. So use the filtering system for it, and then you can compare sort of jobs week by week, and to see if there are more jobs being posted. But yeah, I think it is starting to pick up again. I personally believe there is going to be a massive bounce. It might be a couple of weeks, it might take a month, it might take another quarter, but when people are going to be hiring again, there's always going to be a demand for tech. Like there's such a shortage of decent developers out there. So yeah, when companies do have the budget set out again, they're going to hire immediately. So another tip is follow companies on LinkedIn, and they often post jobs directly. So if you want to work for a specific company, follow them on LinkedIn. Hopefully they post, but ask your recruiter that you work with, oh, do you have any contacts there? Because it might be the case where that individual doesn't look at his LinkedIn that often, but I've got a really good relationship with him, I've got his mobile number. I'll go, oh, hi, Joe, I'm working with, really wants to work with you. He's got this skill set. He's been following your company for X amount of time. Have you got anything? And then you can start sort of getting yourself introduced that way as well. It doesn't always have to be an active vacancy. I've placed a number of individuals both in tech and in my previous recruitment within engineering and construction, where I said, I've got this guy, he's a mechanical design engineer when I did it. He lives 2 miles away, loves your company, he's got X, Y, and Z background. Appreciate there's not an active requirement, but given his skill set, he's not going to be on the market long. He won't be on the market in 3 months. Could you create a position for him? They're like, yeah, wow, for sure. And I've placed individuals that way as well. So yeah, final couple of questions. Charles said, does years of experience really matter? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't think so. Of course, like if you're talking about like if you got only 1 year and different from someone that I already have like 5 to 6 years. Sometimes if you're joined now, that could matter. But after you got like 2 years of experience, that doesn't matter at all. That there is no difference anymore. So I've worked with a guy that he's genius. And he just was like, he got only 1.5 years of commercial experience. And I was like, mate, how did you do it? 1.5 years and you know everything that you know. It's crazy. And he got like a top salary for a nice company. Because he could prove that he knows what he's talking about. And that's exactly my point, right? You don't have to wait for you to have like 6 or 5 years of experience to start applying for senior position. As long as you have the experience, let's say you work the shit out of you now, and you work like 12 hours a day in a side project to make sure that you cover up huge or different experience, right? You are capable to go to the market and apply for a senior position. Because you're going to be able to reach and be in the same level of the conversation with the guy that is recruiting you. So that's what I would like to see. So for me personally, I don't think that the years will prove that, you know, because you could have been working 5 years for a company and stuck in a stack that you didn't grow. So 5 years is nothing compared to that guy that work in a different technology that has exactly the stack that I'm looking for. So I think that's it. Whatever it is your stacks, stick with this. Make sure that you're going to learn the deep stuff, and you're going to put yourself outside to do this deep stuff or to have this experience. And once you have this experience, once you are confident, then you can literally go to the market and start applying for senior positions.
Yeah, for sure. And like, there's so many different takes on what it takes to be a junior developer, a mid-level, a senior, a principal, and everything like that. There's different companies think of it in different ways. So yeah, again, I wouldn't stay too bogged down with it, as long as you can justify it. And again, utilize your CV, utilize your LinkedIn, and utilize your GitHub to prove your experience. It will stand you out.
And again, another quick tip. You just need to play the game again. So before you're gonna apply, just make sure that you're gonna trick your CV for the buzzwords and keywords for that specific stack. So you can highlight the technology. So if you're applying for a React position, you're not going to highlight your experience with Vue.js, right? So you're going to push everything that you've done with React and you're going to put on top, right? Idea, play for you to be, and it is just you're gonna run through, and that's like the best way for you to test yourself. So if you're thinking that you could be in that position, just start applying and let's see. Maybe you could literally be surprised by yourself. You could be surprised and say, wow, I didn't know that I was that good, that specific stack. And yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you very much for all of your time. I've truly enjoyed it. Thanks, G, for obviously your time. It's been great, great discussing this with you. I hope you guys have all learned a little bit about how to go from good to great. As a software developer, I hope you've learned some things, how to leverage your LinkedIn and how to leverage yourself and push yourself out in this current environment as well. If you've got any more questions, feel free to message GUI directly on LinkedIn. But yeah, if you guys could all put a post out saying about it, we'll make the webinar available probably on YouTube as well over the next couple of days, so you can share it within your network as well. But yeah, thanks guys. Have a great day.